The sun is setting, and a luxurious yacht is anchored in a busy marina in Miami, United States. An elderly woman and her daughter, visibly tired and wearing worn-out clothes, observe the yacht from a distance, unaware that a mysterious young millionaire is watching them from afar. Who was that young man? Why had he suddenly invited two strangers into his world of luxury? Was it generosity, or was there something darker in his intentions? Company that has grown rapidly in the sector. He is known for his success, but also for his mysterious and introspective nature. From a young age, Ethan carried an emotional weight that made he became reserved and careful about who he allowed to approach. One day, while watching the sunset from his yacht, he saw two figures that caught his attention. Two women on the edge of the marina observing the yacht. Maren, an elderly woman of around 70 years old, and her daughter Melissa, age 35. They appear tired and discouraged, with simple suitcases beside them, as if they had no place to sleep. Where to go? Ethan, with a curious look and a slight air of concern, "Who are they?" whispers to himself in a low and reflective voice. He gets off the yacht and approaches the two. Maren and Melissa, in a mix of apprehension and distrust, step back a little when Ethan gets close. Ethan, speaking gently but directly, "Excuse me, my name is Ethan. I noticed they've been here for a while. Is everything okay with you?" Maren, surprised, with a polite and discreet smile, "Oh, we're fine. Just looking for a place to rest. We had a difficult situation." Melissa, trying to be polite but uncomfortable, "Actually, we are having some financial problems. My mom and I were moving, but things didn't go as planned." She looks down, embarrassed. Ethan observes the bags and their condition. He feels an impulse to help, but there is something he does not reveal. He hesitates for a moment, then extends the invitation, speaking with a calm tone and a gentle expression. "I have room enough on my yacht. If you don't mind, I can offer you a place to spend the night. It will be more comfortable than out here." Maren, looking at her daughter, emotional and surprised. "Oh, but Ethan, that's very kind. We don't want to get in the way." Ethan, smiling warmly, "Not at all. I'll enjoy the company, actually." Maren and Melissa, still a little suspicious, exchange glances and after a moment of hesitation, accept. They follow Ethan into the yacht, where they are greeted by a luxurious but cozy atmosphere. As they talk, the feeling of something unrevealed hangs in the air, creating a subtle tension, as if there was a deeper reason for Ethan's unexpected invitation. Already accommodated on the yacht, Maren and Melissa observe the luxurious environment, still somewhat impressed. Ethan prepares a simple dinner for them in the kitchen. The atmosphere is cordial, but every minute unspoken questions and curious looks arise. Melissa, watching Ethan, trying to break the silence. "So Ethan, do you live here alone? It feels kind of lonely, you know." Ethan, with a short but not very humorous laugh, "Sometimes it's the price of freedom. But yes, I spend most of my time alone here. I work in the technology sector, and that occupies my mind a lot." Maren, with a curious look and a lighter tone of voice, "And why did you choose to help us, Ethan? We could be anyone, and we know you don't know us." Ethan hesitates, fidgeting nervously with his napkin. He seems torn between saying something and keeping his feelings to himself. Ethan, thoughtfully looking at the ground. Let's just say, sometimes we see something in people that awakens our empathy, and I recognized a little of myself in you. Marin and Melissa exchange intrigued looks, but avoid putting pressure on him. After dinner, Ethan shows them both their rooms. During the night, Melissa can't sleep. Intrigued by Ethan's behavior, she decides to talk to her mother. Melissa, whispering in bed next to her mother. "Mom, something is strange, don't you think? He seems, well, mysterious. Like he wanted to say something but was holding back." Marin thoughtfully with a light sigh. "I noticed it too. Maybe he has his own pains and ghosts, darling. It's hard for some people to open up." The next morning, Ethan makes them breakfast. As they drink coffee, Melissa finds the courage to ask more about him. Melissa, trying to sound casual but curious. "Ethan, I'm sorry if it's too personal, but you said you resonated with us. What did you mean by that?" Ethan, pausing for a moment with a distant look. "You remember someone I lost a long time ago, someone who taught me what it means to have someone to care for, even in the worst of times." The revelation awakens a respectful silence. Marin and Melissa begin to realize that Ethan's gesture has more to do with the pain he carries than a simple act of kindness. Marin, trying to offer some comfort in a soft voice. "Ethan, life brings us losses, but it also gives us the chance to ease the pain of others. Maybe your help to us will be a way to heal this, even if just a little." Ethan agrees with a slight nod and a sad smile. The mystery of who he lost still hangs in the air, but it's clear that there is an emotional connection and a greater intention behind his gesture. From that moment on, Marin and Melissa come to see Ethan with new eyes, understanding that he struggles with deep emotional weight. After a few days aboard the yacht, Marin and Melissa begin to feel more at ease, and Ethan slowly opens up, revealing a gentle, vulnerable side they didn't expect. One day, while Ethan is talking to Marin on deck, Melissa decides to discreetly explore the yacht. When she opens the door to a private room, she comes across something unexpected, a series of old photographs and letters in an open box, carefully preserved. Among the photos, there are images of an elderly woman and a young woman who look vaguely like Marin and Melissa. Surprised and confused, Melissa holds one of the photos, trying to understand. At that moment, Ethan enters and catches her with the box in her hands. Ethan, with an expression of surprise and sadness, his voice low and heavy, "I didn't want you to see that." Melissa, trying to understand with wide eyes. "Ethan, who are these people? They look like us." Ethan, with a heavy sigh, visibly moved. "That lady was my grandmother and the young woman my mother." Melissa is silent, shocked by the revelation. Marin, sensing the tension, approaches and listens to Ethan's explanation. Ethan, speaking with difficulty, voice shaking. "My mother had a very difficult life. She and my grandmother spent years struggling, surviving with very little. They always taught me the value of helping others, even when you have little to offer. I lost them both a few years ago. And since then, whenever I see someone in a similar situation, I feel obligated to do something to help, as if it were a tribute to them." Marin and Melissa are moved by Ethan's confession. He is visibly shaken, but continues speaking, trying to keep his voice steady. "When I saw you there, I remembered them immediately. The expression on your faces was exactly the same as the one I saw so many times on my mother's and grandmother's faces. Maren, teary-eyed, placing her hand over Ethan's. Oh, Ethan, that explains so much. Your kindness, your silence. You really are a good man carrying this pain. The moment is charged with emotion. Ethan, trying to maintain his composure, takes a deep breath and says, with a light but sad smile, "The truth is, I feel lost sometimes. Helping you helps me find a purpose to move forward." This moment creates an even stronger connection between them, as Melissa and Maren begin to see Ethan as part of their lives. For Ethan, it's a chance to revisit and honor the past, but also to pave the way for a lighter future. In the days following this revelation, a new dynamic is established between Ethan, Maren, and Melissa. They begin to share simple but meaningful moments together on the yacht. Quiet dinners, conversations about their lives, and even genuine laughter, as if they were a temporary family. Each finds in others a little comfort and understanding that they lacked. In a night of conversation on the deck, with the city lights in the background, Maren shares her story of struggles and sacrifices as a single mother, and how she has always had to be resilient for the love of Melissa. Maren, in a calm but intense voice, says, "You know, Ethan, it's not easy raising a daughter alone. There were many days when I thought I couldn't handle it, but the love for her kept me going." Looks at Melissa affectionately. "You are young and have been through a lot, but I see that you have a kind heart. That is what matters in the end, not what we possess, but what we are to others." Ethan reflects, absorbing Maren's words, which seem like a balm for the pain he carries. The atmosphere is peaceful, and Melissa decides to talk about what this experience has meant for her too. Melissa, with a sincere smile and a soft voice, says, "You can't imagine how much this has changed our lives, Ethan. I feel like we're not just getting help. We're finding a home, even if it's temporary. And maybe you're finding it too, a family, in a way." Ethan, visibly touched, smiles with teary eyes. There is a moment of silence while everyone reflects. Ethan realizes that the act of helping Maren and Melissa helped him find meaning in life, but also free himself from the pain of the past. Ethan, speaking in a calm and determined voice, "I always thought pain was a prison, but now I see that it can also be a path. You helped me see that." Maren and Melissa look at him with emotional smiles. Ethan feels, for the first time in a long time, that he is not alone, and that the pain he carries can actually be a force for good. On an afternoon with an imminent storm, the darkened sky and rough seas reflect the tension in the air. Ethan, Maren, and Melissa are gathered on deck, watching the horizon. When Maren mentions that she and Melissa need to continue their journey the next day, the news takes Ethan by surprise. He didn't expect the moment of farewell to come so quickly. Ethan, trying to hide his sadness, but his voice is shaking. "So, are you leaving now? I thought we still had time." Melissa, with a sad but determined expression, "Ethan, you have already done more for us than we could ever imagine. We cannot abuse your generosity any longer. We have to move on and get back to our lives." Ethan remains silent, feeling the weight of the words. He observes the two and realizes that although he didn't plan to, they have become essential to him. He doesn't want to let them go, but he also doesn't know how to convince them to stay. After a long moment of hesitation, he makes an impulsive decision. With a firm but emotional voice, Ethan says, "Wait, you can stay for as long as you want. In fact, I wish they would stay. Since you arrived, you have brought something into my life that I didn't even know I needed." Maren and Melissa are surprised and moved by the proposal. The sincere and unexpected invitation reveals the depth of the connection they have formed. The storm outside begins to increase, and the noise of the rough sea fills the silence as everyone deals with their own feelings. Maren, with tears in her eyes, emotional. "Ethan, we don't want to be a burden to you, but we also feel that connection. You are like a son that fate brought us." Melissa, with a choked voice, says, "I don't know what to say, Ethan. I never imagined someone would welcome us like you did." The strong wind shakes the yacht, and Ethan, unable to contain his emotion any longer, gives Maren and Melissa a warm hug, letting all the gratitude and affection he feels show. It is a moment of surrender, where each person understands that the wounds of the past are finally finding healing together. At that moment, the storm begins to calm down, as if the universe recognized the special moment. The tension dissolves, and the trio remains embraced with a feeling of peace and unity that seemed impossible until then. As the days go by, Maren and Melissa decide to accept Ethan's invitation and stay aboard the yacht. They begin to build a new routine, living simply but together. Ethan, finally at peace with the past, finds in Maren and Melissa create a family they never expected to have again. The three make plans for the future together, and Ethan even suggests they invest in a small business that everyone can participate in, combining each other's skills and experiences. One evening, as they watch the sunset, Ethan shares one last confession with Maren and Melissa, speaking in a soft tone of voice, reflecting on the past. "You know, before I met you guys, I thought success was everything, what I needed. But I realized that at the end of the day, what really matters are the people by our side." Maren, with a warm smile, "You gave us a fresh start, Ethan, and it brought love into our lives too. I think we all got a new chance." Melissa, emotional, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Ethan, for seeing us beyond appearance, for welcoming us, and for becoming part of our family." The sunset turns into a beautiful twilight, reflecting a new beginning for everyone. Ethan, finally at peace, looks at his new companions with a sincere smile, knowing that his life will never be the same. Sometimes life takes us to unexpected places so we can discover what really matters. For Ethan, Maren, and Melissa, fate prepared an unlikely family built on generosity and love, and together they proved that true wealth lies in the bonds we form. A year later, we see Ethan, Maren, and Melissa gathered in a small and cozy cafe in the Miami marina. The cafe, called Family Tides, is the result of their shared dream. The place has a warm and welcoming atmosphere, decorated with photographs of travel and happy moments. The trio work side by side, offering a space where people can find warmth and good food. While serving customers, they exchange complicity looks and smiles. Maren takes care of the administrative side, Melissa is at the counter, and Ethan, always by their side, helps with everything he can, happy to finally have a simple but full routine of purpose and affection. At the end of another day, they sit together at a table outside, watching the activity of the marina. The sun sets once again, illuminating their faces in golden light. Ethan, with a satisfied smile, looking at Maren and Melissa. Can you believe this all started with a simple gesture of help? Who knew we would become a family and even have our own cafe? Maren, touching Ethan's hand affectionately. You know, Ethan, it's amazing how life surprises us when we least expect it. You are more than a son to me. You are a blessing. Melissa, with a sparkle in her eyes, excited. And you changed our lives forever, Ethan. Today I know that a family is not made just by blood, but by love and choice. They toast with cups of coffee, laughing and celebrating the fact that they found each other. Together they prove that despite the difficulties, it is possible to rebuild a life with love and empathy. As the sun disappears below the horizon, Ethan, Maren and Melissa are happy, finally finding peace and joy with those who really matter. Now they are smiling and enjoying the moment together at the cafe. In life, we never know where an act of kindness can take us. For Ethan, Maren and Melissa, a simple, unexpected encounter brought them together as a family. Together they found love, purpose, and most of all, a reason to keep going. This story reminds us that true wealth is not in material goods, but in the human connections that strengthen and transform us. And have you ever thought about the power of a simple kindness? Help someone, make a difference, and see what life can bring back. Did you like this story? Share with someone special who needs a little hope and inspiration. And if you want more heartwarming stories like this, subscribe so you don't miss our next videos, each with life lessons to warm your heart. Tell us in the comments what you thought of this story. Have you ever experienced something similar or know someone who has gone through it? We'd love to hear. Thanks for watching until the end. Your presence here is very special to us, and we hope you were touched by this story. On the Kollobe Inspired Stories channel, we tell stories of love, overcoming, and discoveries. Welcome to be part of this community of people who believe in the power of kindness. Remember, small gestures can change lives. See you in the next video. Until then,